Okay, let's see. Just checking. Oh, may konting buzz yung mic ah. That's not good. Okay, let's see. Anyway. Oh, may konting. Okay, so we're in Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. I hope that sound is not too loud. Teka, check natin. That could be a bit loud, so let me adjust the mixer. Yan ba? Orbiter sound yung nagsasound eh. Okay, let's see. That's a bit bearable, I think. Teka. Pero does it affect increasean ko na lang ng konti. Baka too quiet na rin yung yung the broadcast sound itself. Anyway, so we are in Orbiter Spaceflight Simulator. It's now 5 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time or Zulu time, November 26. So we're in real time. So Zulu time yon. So this is in Florida in the USA. So madilim pa. It's 2 a.m. Yeah, so we are in Cape Canaveral, no? So that's the shuttle landing facility, and we are on board our fictitious spacecraft, the DeltaGlider, yung isang default na spacecraft ng orbiter. You're familiar with this place. Ito yung VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building ng NASA at the Kennedy Space Center. Yan. Yeah, Orbiter's graphics is not really that top-notch kasi it tries to be, pero legacy pa yung mga launch pads. Pang shuttle era pa yung configuration. Hindi pa nabili ng SpaceX. So, ito yung dalawang big Saturn V launch pads, which later became Space Shuttle launch pads, and eventually, ngayon, SpaceX na ang nag-ooperate. Okay? At least may konting night lighting dito kasi it's 2 a.m. Florida time. And our activity for today, check ko muna yung stream ko ah. So our activity for today is to reach geostationary orbit over the Philippines. So this will require many steps. So fortunately, forgiving yung ating fictitious spacecraft, the DeltaGlider. So medyo robust siya kahit na medyo i-abuse mo ng konti, hindi basta-basta nasisira. It has adequate thrust and this magical fuel. Yung propellant actually dito yung magical because this is such a small craft and it can carry only so much propellant. Pero kunwari, in the near future, we have some kind of magic propellant na talagang very efficient both at sea level. Yung ISP niya is good at sea level at the same time in the vacuum of space. Well, I'm actually talking about the engines kasi in rocket science, as if rocket scientist tayo, no? Yung ISP determines efficiency of the engine eh. And it's very difficult to build an engine that does both. Does well at sea level and does well in a vacuum. No, mahirap yon. Sometimes it's also in the design of the nozzles eh, ng engine. Nakakatulong din yan. So we will be imagining na this is a magical propellant. Nakikita niyo may mark pa nga na may symbol ng radiation. So parang nuclear engine siguro ang style nito. Although nuclear engines as they exist now are not very good ISP at sea level. They're quite good in space, in the vacuum of space, pero at sea level pangit eh. Anyway, we're wasting time here. We need to go to So this mission will be divided into 2 stages. So yung una nating objective is to reach Earth orbit, low Earth orbit, which I estimate our initial altitude from the Earth's surface would be something like 130 to 150 kilometers. Okay? So that's our target initial orbit. Then, since we are launching from Florida, medyo tabingi yung orbit natin, inclined, similar to the inclination of the ISS. So, paano yun? Kailangan geosynchronous orbit over the Philippines. That means towards the equator. So, we're going to match the plane of the equator. And to do that, I'm going to have to do a plane change maneuver. No? i-eyeball ko lang yung plane change maneuver kasi wala akong reference point, only the Earth and its equator. Fortunately, we do have a map display over here. So we're going to use the map display as a reference when we try to align our orbital plane with that of the Earth's equator. Kitang-kita naman dito sa map kung nasaan yung equator, di ba? Dito yung equator eh. Ito, South America, Ecuador. That's Ecuador kasi the equator passes through that part. Okay? So I think we're ready. So wala naman tayong talagang schedule na fina-follow. This is basically eyeballing lang the mission eh. So wala akong parang very strict parameters being followed eh. So what I'm first going to do is, hindi ko pa pala na-share to. I should be sharing this live stream to Space One. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to share this to a group. I don't know, bear with me for a moment. No, I want to share this video. Hello, James. Si James Macon. Okay. Where is that? Ayan. Yan, kasi Space One is a group that I made for space enthusiasts. So those who are interested in learning on how to reach geostationary orbit above the Philippines. So manood kayo. Okay. So ito yung tinatawag na out of the window view, pero marami actually modes yung orbiter. This is yung parang virtual cockpit view. As you can see, very crude yung natin, yung body ng ating spaceman, ng pilot. But actually these switches are supposed to be clickable, I think. Baka mali ako. Titingnan ko lang. Oy, nagki-click. It's working. Nagki-clickable nga. No? Clickable siya. Pero I don't want to rely much on this, even though it looks fancy. Mas preferred ko yung yung 2D bitmap na display. Wala lang, malinis lang siya sa mata ko. So, kaya gusto ko siya. And of course, yung uncluttered view is this view. Anyway, without further ado, we're going to begin our mission. So, first, yung RCS ko, I will activate the RCS early kasi gusto kong maka-turn agad to 90 degrees to the east. So, rotation. I'll change that to rotation. Total, hindi naman masyadong magasto yung RCS ng DeltaGlider. So we are in the GL01S DeltaGlider and okay, let's take off. So full thrust na ako agad on takeoff. Hindi. Sige, slow application of thrust. Okay, full thrust achieved. Okay, take off tayo at around 150 meters per second. Or maybe 180 meters per second. I think that's more prudent. Para enough na talaga yung forward velocity. Okay, let's take off. Gear up. Yung sound callouts nga pala nito mali-mali eh. Ewan ko bakit. Pero medyo radiator daw yung retract ko. Yung orbiter sound yata may problema. Anyway, I'm turning now. Turning my heading to 90 degrees. As you can see, airspeed is falling down significantly kasi yung nagta-turn ako eh. Okay, let's gain a bit of airspeed ng konti before I try a steeper climb angle. So I'm going to try for a 45-degree climb angle until we reach around 18,000 meters. Sige, 45-degree na ako ngayon. Let's try a 45-degree climb angle. And then watching my altitude. Airspeed is dropping again, pero ayan, nag-i-increase ulit. 40 na lang. Ayan, 40 degrees. Let's do trim controls para hindi tayo pull ng pull. Ayan, nag-trim na tayo. The reason why I want to reach 18,000 meters is we will activate the scram engines. May scram engines kasi dito eh. Eto. So yung scram engines is basically like a ramjet, no? So it will help us save fuel kasi I'm going to accelerate using the scramjet engines. Eto na. I can actually turn them on now. Okay, I've opened up scram. And as you can see here, nag-i-increase na yung... Oh, wait. Mali. We have to lower our altitude. And slowly, babawasan ko na yung thrust ng main engines ko. Kasi, I want to, Ayan, I turned off the main engines. And I'm going to level off at this altitude around 25,000 meters. Yep, this is 25 kilometers above the Earth. Okay, what does that look like? Ayan. Uy, yun ang Cape, oh. This looks nice, no? But our airspeed is falling down. So, it means na hindi enough. So, what I'm gonna do is turn on the engine again until we gain sufficient velocity for the scram jet to actually work, which is around siguro around 900 meters per second, almost a kilometer a second. Diyan na magkikick in, and we know this kasi if we look into the wait, sana ba yan? Bakit ayaw? If we look into this yung fuel flow for the scram, nakikita nyo nag-i-increase. That means ginagamit na yung scram fuel ng ating scramjet engine. So, yan. Okay. We're maintaining altitude now. That's a good sign. And then, I don't want to spend too much on the main propellant. So, antayin na lang natin yan. Fuel flow is increasing. So, binabawasan ko na yung fuel flow to the main engine. Because I just want to save, no? It's just being efficient. Ayan. Oh, look. Ayan na. The scram engines are kicking in. Teka, off ko na yung main engine. As you can see, it's actually the engines below the main engines. Ito yung scramjet engines underneath. That's pushing. And in fact, our airspeed has increased to the point na nag-glow na, may plasma glow na around the craft, no? So, when will I stop, basically? Well, that's a good question. Kasi minsan nalilito rin ako eh. When should I stop using scram? Ako simple lang eh. If the fuel flow starts to drop, maybe because of altitude, if hindi ko nababantayan na I'm over a certain altitude, and when airspeed reaches around 2.5 kilometers a second, yan. Ayan, wow. We're getting very hot outside. Kaya nga sabi ko, di ba, forgiving yung DeltaGlider. The DeltaGlider is quite forgiving. Kasi kung ano pa to, yung medyo strict na spacecraft ng orbiter, nako, we would be fried siguro now. Pero the assumption is, thermally insulated. Itong front ng ating craft. Okay. Very substantial speed there. So, pagdating siguro ng 2 ayan, bumababa na yung ating fuel flow. So, meaning, hindi na efficient yung scram engine. So, pagdating ng, ayan, bumabagal na rin yung ating airspeed. So, what I'm going to do right now is pitch up. Come on, let's pitch up. Ayan, let's take advantage of this speed and use the main engines. Ito na yung gagawin ko. Okay. Okay, we're gaining altitude. Bumababa na yung fuel flow. Main engines on. When fuel flow reaches nearly 0, I'm going to turn off the scram engines. Okay. Yan. Come on. Sige pa. Let's increase our angle of attack. Okay, it's time to turn off the scram. Turn off na natin. Wala na siyang gamit. And let's proceed with our orbital ascent. Okay, continue our orbital ascent. Teka, naka-ano pa ako? Naka-ano pa tayo eh, naka-trim pa tayo up. So, let's trim that down. Wala nang gamit actually in trim kasi we're way above air, yung thicker air. Ayan. We're over the Caribbean, I think. Yeah, that actually saved a bit of fuel. Hindi naman siguro futile yon. Yung ginawa nating scram maneuver. Others kasi don't bother eh. Pero masaya pa for me eh, na makagain ng a bit of velocity without using the main engines and therefore saving a bit of fuel. No? Actually, this would have been more significant if we started off actually with less fuel. No, mas maganda kasi the craft would be lighter. So therefore, it would be actually easier to reach orbit. So, pero ang problema, we're short of fuel. So paano yun? Well, yun nga, may scram engines. So the scram fuel will be utilized. So hindi magagamit yung main propellant natin that we can use for like continuing the ascent and to do orbital maneuvers. Okay? So while this is all going on, let's check ko muna yung health ng stream natin. Okay, just checking here. Check ko muna yung health ng stream natin. Okay. Nag-echo pala pag chine-check ko. Teka. Anyway, so nag-echo pala pag chine-check ko. Teka. Okay. Balik tayo. Okay. Oh, we've reached space. May soundtrack kasi yung orbiter if you reach space. I don't know if you can hear that. So I have to check my stream again kung may naririnig na music. Sige, check natin ulit. Check natin. Refresh. Nag-echo pala pag chine-check ko. Teka. Nag-echo pala pag chine-check ko. Teka. Nag-echo pala pag chine-check ko. Teka. That's weird. Naputol ba yung stream natin? Nag-echo pala pag chine-check ko. Teka. What's going on? Naputol ba yung stream natin? Nag-echo pala pag chine-check ko. Teka. It's all going echoey. Teka, I should stop that. Anyway, I hope you're still hearing anything. Teka. Increasean ko na lang nga yung ano. Yan. Okay. Mali yung ano ko. Dapat naka-prograde na tayo. So, yan. I'm doing a prograde, automatic prograde orientation. So those stars, Orion, no? I saw Orion right away. You can actually see that it's Orion. Ayan. May planetarium mode yung orbiter eh. So you know exactly na there's a constellation of Orion. You got Canis Major over there. Uy, medyo taas na natin. So mali yung ano ko. I wasn't planning to go this high. So I'm going to turn off my engine. And then pag malapit na tayo sa ating apogee, then I'm going to light my engine up again. Medyo kerbal ang style, no? But I really don't like the fact that I'm at a very high altitude now. Medyo na ano ako eh. I got distracted by checking my stream. Pero that's fine. It's not going to matter much. Although I did want talaga to reach something like a maximum of 150 kilometers. We're now nearly 300 kilometers above, twice the altitude. Hindi, ito, lampas 300 kilometers na nga eh. But that's fine. No worries. Sige, when we reach about ngayon na lang ako mag-ano. I'm going to move my prograde marker here. I mean horizon line nandito. Ito yung horizon line, so I'm going to burn while this is pointed to the horizon line. Let's burn now. Medyo matagal to eh, so I think I might opt to do accelerated time. Sige, try natin. 10 times faster than usual. Ayan, para makasave ng konting time. Total, wala naman, okay lang naman eh. No bad. We're approaching yata the altitude of the ISS eh. Mga ganitong altitude ng ISS. Okay, accelerated time ulit. And wait, cut off ko muna yung engine, tapos wait tayo until apogee. Okay, apogee is closing and closing. Okay, I'm going to burn again. Burn prograde. Accelerate. Eccentricity value going down. Ayan na. Pupup. Sumobra yata. Anyway, not a perfect circle, but it's fine. Hey, wait. One thing I can do is we can open the retro doors. So by opening the retro doors, I can actually fire my retro rockets. Ayan. So therefore, pwede kong ma-adjust yung eccentricity. Ayan. Ayusin natin. Yep. That's as far, or that's how nice, that's how low we can set the eccentricity. So it's fine. Or in orbit. No? Tapos lalabas ko yung labas tayo ng ano. Parang pangit yung lighting, no, hindi realistic. I think I may have turned off some lights in the simulator para lang yung realistic lighting, para sana ma-up yung frame rate, but that's fine. So then change tayo to radiator extend. How do you do that? Ayan. May radiator kasi itong ano eh, itong DeltaGlider. Supposedly nagda-dissipate ng heat. Parang heat sink, no? Basically, it's a heat sink. Yeah, it's quite old, etong orbiter. This is still basically the same DeltaGlider when it was released 20 years ago. Can you imagine that? Yeah, orbiter was released sometime mga 20 to 21 years ago by Martin Schweiger. Grabe, no? I've been using this thing for like nearly 20 years. Okay. So now, the next step is when we reach the equator. So balik tayo dun sa view na to. When we reach the equator, dito banda, or close to the equator, we're going to do a plane change maneuver to match the to match the Earth's equator. Basically, parang we will be flying over the Earth's equator. So this is gonna be a bit tricky kasi usually the burn should begin right before our craft reaches the equator, no? Kasi if we do it at the equator, syempre lalampasan na natin yung equator, so parang may konting mali, yung skewed ng konti yung ating correction. So to ensure that the correction is right along the equator, we should do the maneuver before. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do. Pagdating dito siguro sa, what part of Africa is this? Ivory Coast ba to? Somewhere. So dyan. And we can accelerate time para hindi tayo. And then tapos we're going to orient the craft to normal. Yan. So we're pointing at the quote-unquote side, no? Yung normal side. Tapos antayin natin. This is going to be a long burn. Kaya nga sabi ko, it pays talaga to save some propellant eh. So this is gonna be quite a long burn. Kasi of the inclination. I mean, ano we started 50, ilan nga ba yung inclination when you launch from Florida? 50 plus So we need to negate that. So that's going to be a bit, here's the coast of Africa. No? Sahara. And Sahara Desert over there. Let's see that from external view. Wow, that's nice. And there's the glow of sunrise in the horizon. Kasi we're going to the sunlit side of the earth. Okay. Move tayo na konti pa. Pagdating dito, I'm going to zoom in. Teka. Pagdating dito sa coast na to, coast part of Africa, dito ako magbibigyan ng maneuver. Okay, I think I can begin it now. Normal plus, then burn. Ayan. Come on, keep on burning. Tamang-tama kasi if this is perfect, then I don't need to do another revolution of the earth and that actually means I can start the prograde burn to reach my target geosynchronous orbit. I mean geostationary orbit. Come on, konti na lang. I think this is gonna work. Pero kailangan mabilis ako. We're gonna go past it. Pero okay lang. No worries. Wow. Just barely. Okay na to. And let's prepare for our burn. Teka. We need to do the burn now. As in now na talaga. Now na talaga. Okay. Watch APR. APR is the most important. It has to be 42.14 or 16. And we have to be pointed prograde. So get ready. Okay, are you ready, guys? We're going to do the big prograde burn to reach geostationary orbit over the Philippines. 3, 2, 1, fire. Okay, here we go. Wow, we're in the day side of the earth na. Very nice. Look at those clouds. And we're doing our burn. This is going to be a very long burn. Again, watch APR. This is the most important value. That value should be 42.14. 42.14. So right now it's 9. So dapat maka-cut off, engine cut off tayo pag when we're about 39. Then just do some correction. Or 40. Okay, 10 na. Burn still ongoing. (12, 13). This is the altitude from the Earth's center, no? So 14,000 kilometers. Yung apogee, 15,000 kilometers. Our target is 42,140 to reach geostationary orbit above the Philippines area. Okay, we're reaching 20,000 kilometers above the Earth. Yan, we just passed 20 kilometers. I'm talking about the apogee, not our actual current altitude. Yung apogee kasi pinupush natin outwards Okay, still pushing. You notice na the rate of change gets faster and faster, no? Eto na, kaya nga kailangan very very quick yung ating kamay to cut off, to do a engine cut off just before 40, 41, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Wow! Oh my god, that's amazing, I hit the mark. 42.16. Well, I did have a bit of practice, pero still medyo on the dot tayo. Galing ah. Wow. That's nice. 42.16 meters APR. That is the apoapsis of radius. Okay. Okay, let's see. So, in real life, this is going to take many hours to reach apogee. In fact, I'm going to do an estimate. Hindi na nga pala tayo real time, no? Kasi I did some accelerated time. Kaya nga ngayon, it's now still November 26, pero it's now several minutes ahead na. In the real world, it's now 5:36 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Pero in the sim, we have advanced many minutes into the future kasi I did accelerated time. Okay. If I do accelerated time now, you will see this wonderful scene of the ship leaving the Earth. No, kasi our highly eccentric orbit, which i-check ko muna. Ano yung magic value natin for eccentricity? It's about 73. Dito 72.3, and that is probably because we started off at a high orbit, no, higher than what I originally planned, which was around ilan nga ba yan? Kasi yung ideal sana would be 0.73, pero ngayon 0.723. Okay lang. I think that won't really matter much, but we will see. So next step is to just coast. I'm actually curious how long it will take to reach apogee. So we started off at around an hour. I mean, sim time nearly an hour ago. Pero actually, in the real world, only 40 minutes or less have passed before we took off from Florida. Okay, so now I'm going to do accelerated time. So watch carefully as we leave the Earth behind. Ang gagawin ko nga ngayon para maganda, para medyo automated, I'm going to do a track view, track to Earth, then track target to the Earth. Ayan. Then I'm going to do accelerated time. Let's watch this. This is going to be fun. Yan. Kasi it's now focused on the very center of the Earth and we're leaving the Earth behind. Wow, look. Ayan na. Ayan ang Philippines. So, meaning, this is already a good sign that we are headed over our target area. Kasi hindi pa naka-center yung Borneo in the map. But I'm actually going to overfly Borneo in a minute. Check natin yung map. Holy crap, baka nagkamali tayo ah. My current altitude is... Okay. If you can see upper right hand corner ng HUD, that's the radius of our orbit with relation to the center of the Earth. So we're now at 12,000 kilometers, 13,000 kilometers from the center of the Earth. Mukha namang tama. Or let's see. Let's do accelerated time again. Even though the views outside of the spacecraft is nice, you have to forgive me.
Translation.
We have to focus on the mission at hand. Uy, lumampas tayo. Mali pala yung estimate ko. Lumampas po tayo. So meaning I should have done my burn a lot earlier. So I should have done a full rotation of the Earth muna to figure out. I think yung ating higher starting altitude ang culprit. Why this happened. This is not good. This basically means this is still salvageable because what I'm essentially going to do is I'm going to make the orbit slightly bigger when I do the circularization burn. So we will drift back to the Philippines. Kasi lumampas na po tayo. We're now over New Guinea. We're over New Guinea. Tingnan natin sa map. Yeah, we're over. Oh, yeah, bumabalik na. So maybe we were right after all. Pero still may error pa rin. And that error is due to the initial starting altitude, which was wrong, diba? Kasi nga I got distracted eh. But it's great. We're now moving in a retrograde orbit. Yan, paatras na tayo. Westward na yung movement natin. Yan, we're drifting slightly. Sana mag-settle, no? Kahit man lang near Celebes, Mindanao. Masaya na ako. Okay, what about time? Oh, look at that. So, to reach this area, that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 hours na has passed. It's going to be 5 hours soon. Uy, ang ISS. Mir, of course, is gone, pero may legacy Mir na nag-orbit sa Earth. So, ignore that. I should have deleted that para hindi nakakalito. Anyway, it's now, ayan, 5 hours na. Wow. So, it takes around a little bit over 5 hours to reach, ano to? Geostationary orbit. Wait. Okay we drifted back, so I don't think any correction is necessary. I think this is enough. Some weather satellites, ganito yung orientation in this spot, no? Just below Mindanao. Wow. I don't believe it. It actually worked. Sige. Yung ano ko na lang, yung burn ko na lang, ayan na, APT. We're watching APT countdown. When we reach around, ang value natin na inaantay is around 50. I'm going to slow down the time acceleration. Oh, yun na. Okay, let's do it now. Burn. Prograde burn. Prograde na, naka-prograde tayo. Yan. I should have done it earlier. This is stupid. Dapat, I think, one full minute before it reached apogee, I should have done the burn. But, no worries. Yeah, we're over Mindanao. We're just below Mindanao, right on the equator. So this is going to be fine. In fact, para mag-drift tayo backwards further, I can make the orbit slightly bigger. Then we will just correct it in the next revolution. Just teeny tiny, slightly bigger. Kasi may ano naman tayo, retro, and I can do linear RCS para lang makorrect yung eccentricity when we reach the target altitude. So yung what we're watching right now is PER. Ito. Yung PER value should match the APR. So that's the ano na. May mga MFD na may mga MFD na very advanced that can do everything automatically like circularization, pero it's fun to do it manually. Okay, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. Okay, let's increase that a bit. No, that's actually fine. Kasi malaki na yung malaki na yung value nung Hindi, increase natin. We're in linear mode, so let's burn a bit. Yeah, slightly bigger. So hopefully magdi-drift tayo westwards ng konti. Kasi we want to be closer to Zamboanga. Yeah. Pero we did it. I mean, we're here. We're here, guys. Look at that. Let's zoom FOV. The Philippines just entered nighttime, but as you can see, we're right over it. So if we were tasked to do any Earth observing sessions, then we can now observe the Philippines at a fixed spot from space. No? So if we were a satellite, all the maneuvers I did, yan yung dapat i-perform nung launch vehicle to bring the satellite to this point. So as you can see, Orbiter is really a nice teaching tool, no? To explain yung principle ng, for instance, geostationary orbits and how to achieve it. So napakalayo po. Kaya lang mukhang malapit because I fooled around with the so-called FOV. Pero kung yung FOV natin parang normal peripheral vision view, ang liit na ng Earth, and you will see na napakalayo natin. We're quite far from the Earth. We're 36,000 kilometers from the surface of the Earth at this point. 42,000 kilometers from the Earth center. Sige, zoom ulit natin. Because now, sisave ko muna kasi syempre, I wanted to... Hindi, magko-correct pa pala tayo on the next pass. Kasi, actually, mag-drift pa to kasi we're actually a bit larger. So, if we reach... nalilito na ako. What is the open circle? Open circle is Perigee or apogee? Nalito na tuloy ako kasi yung eccentricity natin is almost perfect. It's 0.0005. Kaya ang hirap tuloy determine where we are. Teka. No, I'm actually satisfied with this, even though I should correct it. Pero tingnan natin anong effect ng correction when we reach one of those nodes. Hindi ko na alam kung which is which eh. If this node is the apogee or is this node the apogee. Either one of those two nodes. So what I'm going to do is turn off prograde mode. We're in linear, so hopefully naka-lock. And I'm going to accelerate time. Tingnan nyo. Parang naka-lock tayo, no, with Earth's rotation. Yan. So may gagawin ako. Teka, I'm not sure if this is gonna work eh. Pero I'm going to orient the craft
rotation
to face the Earth. Baka yung out of the window view natin is the Earth. Look how tiny it is. It's really small, no? Yan, at the 270 mark. Tapos, I'm going to go back to translational mode and I will see kill rotation. Ay, wala na. Bakit ganon? Akala ko
rotation.
Tapos translation ulit. Tapos gusto ko kasi pag it's drifting. Akala ko kasi hindi na magdi-drift eh. Oh man, bakit nagdi-drift ito? I really thought hindi na siya magdi-drift. Is it the
rotation?
No, it's still drifting. Yung original ano to? I achieved a rate of ano eh. What about if I do a normal? Ano itsura? No, horizon level, hold out, normal. No, mali. See? That's not good. Prograde, retrograde, horizon level, mali. Prograde, retrograde. If I do the anti-normal, wala siyang orientation na pointing at the Earth. How do you do that? Wala eh. Prograde lang. So if I do the prograde, diba? And I remove prograde, what happens? Ayun, nakalock na ulit siya. Sayang. Kasi if I can just reorient the prograde marker para mag-face siya doon, then I would be seeing the Earth outside of the window. Pero there's another way to do this. It's not exactly a cheat, but let's go back to the cockpit. Ayan na yung sun. And go to VR view and just look at this side. Ayan, the left side of the window, I can see the Earth. So still over the Philippines. So if I were to do some data gathering, if I had cameras on the left side of the ship, I can just zoom in and do my work, no? My Earth observation, my Philippines observation. Ang ganda, oh. Ayan. Accelerated time. So as you can see, November 27 na, and it's going to the night side, and paggabi na sa Earth, twilight na. And notice na medyo tilted yung yung shadow ng Earth. That's because of course we're nearing the winter solstice. Kaya ang medyo sunlit side is yung southern hemisphere. Kaya northern hemisphere para mas madaling dumilim. Ayun. So yan, ang ganda ring explanation, astronomical explanation, yung mga yung mga events na ganito. Ayan, we just passed midnight Philippines time. So now nag-aantay tayo ng break of dawn. Ayan. Ayan, umaga na ulit. So this is something nice to think about. So this is why during December, especially December 21st, yung unang makakaranas ng sunrise in the Philippines and at a usual later date, later time of the day is at Pusan Point near anong place nga ba to? Tarragona in what's this in Davao Oriental. Yan yung unang makakatikim ng sunrise. And at the very same time, even if sorry, even if may araw na in some parts of Mindanao, gabi pa rin yan. Medyo madilim pa rin in northern Luzon, central Luzon, Mindoro, and Palawan. At this point, Visayas could be in daylight. Ayan. Actually, the entire Philippines is now in daylight. We're still 100 times accelerated time kaya ayan. And once again, morning na naman sa Philippines. Yeah. So that's it. We made it to our target geostationary orbit above the Philippines. Yun lang naman yung yung ating objective. That's what I wanted to achieve. No? Uy, naka-lock pa tayo. Teka, change ko muna yung camera. Let's do apply focus cockpit, focus external, track. Sana wala ng tracking, absolute direction, global. How do I remove the hindi ko magalaw yung ayun, nagagalaw na pala. Okay na. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session. Uy, nag-earthquake daw. May earthquake in Mindanao. Okay. Anyway, that's it. That's just what I wanted to do, no? So, para next time, ganito ang plano ko. Either we're going to launch a more complicated spacecraft, similar to the DeltaGlider, pero more demanding in terms of, more realistic in terms of its demands for making sure that the occupants of this craft is safe. We're going to fly something called the XR2, or its larger cousin, an actual freight spacecraft that can carry stuff to space. So maybe like may payload tayong satellite. Actually, the XR2 can also carry payload So we can do that para magsisimulate talaga tayo ng satellite deploy. But it's still unrealistic, it's still sci-fi. Pero what we can do eventually, and this is something na this is born out of a question also asked by Alfeo, I think at a certain point in Space One. Sabi niya, can we simulate a launch from somewhere in the Philippines of a rocket capable of sending something to geostationary orbit? And we're gonna showcase that. Actually, it will be quite easier, I think, considering the fact that Mindanao is closer to the equator, so the inclination is not that bad. So yung ating correction burn won't be that terrible. Or we don't even have to do a correction burn na lang. We can just start inclined, no? Kasi ganun din naman even though if the orbit is inclined, I think we can still orbit in a geostationary orbit directly above the Philippines pa. Because that would mean if we launch from the Philippines that the orbit would be passing the Philippines, no? Kung stable na siya, at that altitude, about 36,000 kilometers away from the surface of the Earth. So yun lang, and I hope you enjoyed this orbiter session and learned something. And see you next time. Ending my broadcast now.